Did you know that families in Arkansas working for minimum wage make less than $18,000 a year?
Good afternoon, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Thursday, October the 25th. Well, the news in America continues to be explosive. More improvised pipe bombs have turned up in the mail today, some directed at Joe Biden, some directed at Robert De Niro. Both of those, of course, are readily identifiable from one end of the political spectrum. We still don't have any idea who's mailing these things. One question is whether those who contributed to an atmosphere that is conducive to violence will tone things down a little bit. Donald Trump had a rally last night. He was somewhat restrained, but he did make a point of saying it during the course of the rally, essentially, that the media is to blame for divisiveness in America today, not the people who give speeches like he does. They did chant "lock her up" a few times last night. I think they chanted "CNN sucks" too. This on the day CNN got a pipe bomb sent to its New York offices. Well, there'll be more on that story, of course, and we'll continue to see what happens. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Arkansas's contribution to this discourse, immediately backed up her boss, Donald Trump, by saying, too, that after CNN objected, it's the media's fault for contributing to civility and the media needs to clean it up. Trump doubled down on Twitter this morning, saying that it's fake news about people like him that causes people to be unhappy. Fake news being accurate news that reports lies and the sorts of things that Donald Trump puts out. Well, back home in Arkansas, this morning at school campuses around Little Rock School District, there were informational pickets, people holding signs in support of Little Rock school teachers, objecting to State Education Commissioner Johnny Key's efforts to change the contract with Little Rock teachers so it's easier to fire those who work in some of the toughest schools in the district that have some of the hardest students to reach. It's terribly unfair, unequal treatment of people. They're not doing the same thing around the state, but Johnny Key thinks that neither he nor the superintendent nor principals are responsible for schools with low scores, but the teachers are. How about that? They fired the last school board that couldn't produce in the Little Rock School District. The current school board is Johnny Key. Nobody's firing him. Nobody would dare. He's Asa Hutchinson's man. The good news is Michael Poore, the superintendent, tells me that he's still negotiating with the Little Rock Education Association. They have until October 31st to negotiate a new contract. They've said they're not much inclined to go along with a waiver of the state law that provides some limited job protection to teachers against the whims of administrators, but we'll see. Maybe they'll work something out. The Arkansas Supreme Court made some news today. A surprising 4-3 decision reversed an earlier affirmation of a rape conviction of Edward Rogers in North Little Rock. He was convicted and sent to 40 years for raping 3 members of a family with whom he lived. He was acquitted in one case, and on the fact that one case in which he was acquitted, he wasn't able to present testimony about that woman's once misdemeanor theft conviction. They overturned all of his rape convictions. The prosecutor will take a look at retrying that case. There's a lot of gruesome testimony involved there. Speaking of criminal matters, the Little Rock Police Department was in the spotlight again yesterday. Civil rights attorneys introduced the public to 4 more people who were victims of no-knock explosive Little Rock police raids that were unjustified by any evidence found in the raids, and they say they were wrongly accused. The civil rights case grows. The Fraternal Order of Police has defended the police actions, say they've been justified in everything they've done. They would say that, of course. They, also said dishonestly that the reporting about this was just an opinion writer at the Washington Post. In fact, he's investigated 100 cases in which warrants were issued on dubious circumstances and produced little in a number of those cases. The FOP also endorsed a candidate for mayor this week in the mayor's race, Baker Curris. Of course, most of the members of the Fraternal Order of Police don't live in Little Rock. They live in suburban cities. Most of them are white. They flee the crime in the majority black schools in Little Rock. They're not a particularly solid source of information on anything political in Little Rock from my point of view. They also support Kenton Buckner, the Little Rock police chief, who's made his bed with the Fraternal Order of Police and not with the Black Police Officers Association, though he is an African-American himself. The good news is that Kenton Buckner is a finalist for the Syracuse police chief job, and I'm encouraging everyone to tell anybody who calls from Syracuse that he's a combination of Elliot Ness and Jesus, and much as we'd hate to lose him, that by all means hire Kenton Buckner away from us. Well, speaking of drug arrests and medical marijuana, Mike Lee, the Democratic candidate for Attorney General, says if he's elected, he'll file a lawsuit to change the status of medical marijuana under the federal law so that Possession of it can't be used to keep you from owning a firearm. Medical marijuana and guns, that's a winning combination in Arkansas. I don't know if it's enough to help him beat Leslie Rutledge, who's been an anti-drug crusader, but it's the best thing he's got going today at least. Blue Hog reports that it's found multiple campaign contributions in excess of the limit on Asa Hutchinson's report from a wealthy woman in Bella Vista, Arkansas. Perhaps it was just an honest oversight. He's complained to the State Ethics Commission about it. Politics continue to grind on. There, goodness knows, a lot still to resist. I'm going to do it. Hope you do too. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.
I'm Amy. I'm a school custodian in Russellville. I'm a single mom and I'm proud to work hard for my family. I need to provide for them. I need to make sure that they're cared for and loved and they have everything that they need. Did you know that families in Arkansas working for minimum wage make less than $18,000 a year? That's barely enough to put food on the table, much less pay for rent and other basics. Raising the minimum wage may seem like a small deal, but it makes a big impact on families like mine.